providing that you've done this correctly and you've repeated back the words that they've said, not the words that are in your program, not the words that are in your system, you've repeated back the words that they said, then they're inevitably almost always going to go yes and, or yes or yes but, some version of yes. So what we're then forming is what we call alignment, which is an agreement of understanding. We're now on the same page, yes or no, guys? So that comes in the demonstrate phase. Don't make the mistake of pushing the demonstrate phase in the problem phase. The problem phase is to identify the problem. So someone goes, oh, we've got high employee turnover and we've got a lot of staff absence. Don't go, oh yeah, the way that we solved that is but. Why would you not do that? Jerome? Sorry? Comes across too salesy, and then it comes about you rather than about them getting the transformation. Jordan?
I was just going to say you're not extracting from them to get the necessary information.
Correct. Correct, yeah. And not extracting enough information out of them to really be able to use that for them, okay? I often say to people, I'm not selling to you, I'm selling for you. I want your transformation. Last question on the enrollment phase, on the demonstrate phase is, what needs to happen to get you enrolled in this world-class opportunity? Or some version of that. What needs to happen next? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to say, okay, this is how much it is and this is how you get started. That will cause what we call buyer resistance. Especially if you're speaking with somebody quite high level, quite intelligent, quite experienced, you definitely want to throw the ball back in their court and make it their decision. If you're speaking with somebody that is brand new, that is quite green, let's say, for example, I'm speaking to a 19-year-old about Money Mastery Online for a £500 investment, I might need to lean in a little bit more because they need a little bit more motivation, they need a little bit more encouragement. Somebody like Ken or Ellie doesn't need that necessarily. What they need is, no, I'm a big man, bruv, I'm in control. Right? Right. Right. So at the end of the conversation with Ken, I'm going, well, seems like it's a good fit for you, Ken. So share with me what needs to happen next for us to get you enrolled, or what needs to happen next for us to help you to scale your business, or what needs to happen next so that we can help you get beyond that £1 million mark that you were saying that you wanted to get to. And then he's going to go some version of, he's going to come up with a stall and say something like, oh, well, I'm not sure about X, Y, and Z, or, I'm not sure if I have the time, or I'm not sure how the program will work for me, in which case I can go backwards through the process, hey, Haley, and then work through those objections. Or he's going to go, I just need to get in the program. And then what do I say next, Cassandra?
Great. And you'll enroll him by getting the money straight away.
Yeah, how? What would I say to him? Go on, Darren. That's a way to do it, but it won't. It's not optimal to do that.
What card do you want to use?
Sorry?
What card do you want to use?
Not optimal. Not with a highly experienced person.
Are you paying one installment?
No, I just go. This is the leaning back. So if I'm working with somebody that is what we call a dominant profile, using Ken as an example, someone like yourself, if you're working with someone like. Did I push you to join into the academy?
No, you kicked me. No.
Okay. So,
not at all.
yeah, so if I'm speaking with, especially with a man that's quite dominant, quite leadership oriented, then I'm going to step away and I'm going to go, so what needs to happen next? And then he's going to go, well, I need to give you my bank details, don't I? Or he's going to go, yeah, if you can send me an invoice, perfect. Yeah, so it's getting them to make the decision.
You know what you do? There's this awkward silence that you do. So you kind of, there's there's that awkward silence where what needs to happen next, and then Jazz just stays there quiet.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what needs to happen next. That's the old Tony Robbins pose, yeah? What needs to happen next?
Like, whoever talks first loses. Whoever talks first loses is that, because that awkward silence is going to force someone to speak, and it's not going to be Jazz, it's going to be the person on the scene. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we both know what the next step is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, someone will typically say, oh, tell me more about the price point again, or tell me how it works, or, you know, what's the first step once the payment is committed? And then we can just break that down and then just go back to it again. Okay, cool. What other questions you got? Or another version of that, instead of what needs to happen to get you enrolled in this world-class opportunity, and write this down. Another version of that is, what questions do you have before we get you enrolled? What questions do you have before we get you enrolled today? Or what questions do you have? What other questions do you have? And then they'll ask a question, typically, you answer it, and then you'll say, what other questions you got?
I think that silence that you do, like when you're sitting there and you're doing your best to think of another excuse or another stall, you're like, shoot, I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
I've got no other stalls, I've got no other excuses. The logical next step is, so send me an invoice, or are you taking it now?
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Any questions about the demonstrate phase? So remember, clarify the problem. Usually 2, 3, sometimes 4 questions. Accelerate them. In other words, future pace them into what their desired outcome is. Let them tell you what it is. What do you need to get from a world-class holiday with Scheme Egos? What experiences would you love to have? Who would you love to meet on that holiday? Those are accelerate questions. If you can if you were with 100 amazing people that were full of your vibe and your energy, what would that look like? And then they're going to go, oh, I'd like people that like dancing, you know, I love bashment music and I love this and I love that. And then Zahia's going, perfect, perfect, perfect. And then when she gets to the demonstrate phase, she's going, remember when you said you love bashment and all that sort of stuff? Actually, on a Saturday night, we've got an amazing party with 150 people just like you that also, and we only play bashment there, as an example, right? And we only play bashment there with like-minded individuals just like you. Does that sound like the type of vibe that you're looking for? Yeah, absolutely. So now we're using that. So problem, accelerate and future pace into the desired outcome, and then isolate 1 or 2 questions. Isolate, ask them what are the consequences if you don't do anything about this? What are the consequences if nothing changes?
When do you ask that?
After the accelerate. So I actually mapped this out in my mind yesterday when I think Jasmine was talking, and I'll probably do a design on this. It's like a Z frame. So can we zoom in on the camera on this and get a story on this? So here you are problem. This is where they start. And then what you want to do is you want to take them along the journey and then accelerate into their desired outcome. So what are the challenges that you're facing right now in terms of growing your business? In an ideal world, what does a 10 out of 10 solution look like? And then they're like, oh, it looks like this and it looks like that and it has this many people and you have this kind of mentorship and I would like to work with you one-on-one and all of the things that they say there. Perfect. And then you pull them back a little bit, which is called isolate. So what happens if you don't do anything about it? What happens if nothing changes and you keep getting the same results and not growing the business? What happens then? Oh, I'll be annoyed and I'll probably have to go back to my 9 to 5, as an example. Oh, so you need the help then? Yeah, and I need to make a change now. That's ultimately what you're listening for. Oh, so you need to make a change then? Oh, yeah, perfect. And then you demonstrate how your product, program, and/or solution is the bridge to help them get from problem to the opportunity that they're looking for. Does that communicate? Yeah. And for the purposes of Ken, the reason that we do this isolate phase here is because the human brain is naturally defensive. The human brain is it naturally enjoys being where it's always been. It's designed to protect and to keep safe. It's not designed to accelerate into new opportunities. It's not naturally designed to get into dream outcomes. It's not actually naturally designed to help you get to your goals. It's designed to keep you safe. And where they are in this problem state is where they've always been in some realm, which keeps them safe. So what you want to do in the isolate phase is you want to work with human behavior. You want to work with their brain and go where their brain is going. Hang on, I want to stay safe. And then reverse engineer that. So the way that you reverse engineer that I want to stay safe thinking is you go, well, sounds great that you want to get there, but what happens if nothing changes? And again, let me just emphasize, be specific with the words. So the scripts that I've given you are quite generic, yeah? Quite generic, but use the specific words that they used. So what happens, Cassandra, if nothing changes and you don't get the health and vitality that allows you to spend the time with your grandchildren that you shared earlier? Oh, then I won't get to spend time with them and I'll feel really disappointed and I'll feel like pulling out emotion, yeah? Cool. Any questions about any of that? Cool. So first question at the demonstrate phase is, let me complete this bit. So you may ask, what do you know about XYZ program so far at this part of the journey? You may ask, so if we had a world-class £10,000, £20,000, whatever solution to help you to build that property portfolio or to help you build the best body of your life, would there be anything stopping you from moving forward today, James? Jennifer, whoever it might be. And then they're just going to have questions around that in which you can answer those. And then this is the key frame that most of you are going to be focused on is, remember when you said XYZ, that was causing you to ABC? Well, the way that we typically solve that for our clients is 1, 2, 3. Yeah? And that's a really good place, by the way, if you haven't done it in the conversation already, is to throw in a case study. Now, here's the distinction that I want you to be clear on. Your case study must be almost exactly in alignment with their journey. And or frame it in a way that is in alignment with their journey. So, as Ellie's example, this gentleman's got £20,000 to invest, and let's say he makes £20,000 a month. You might go, perfect, that's exactly what happened with Ken, who also had he had around about £20,000 to invest. And what he decided was actually investing £20,000 with us was the best next step so that he can get to the £200,000 cash flow that he was actually looking for. And the good news is that he didn't just get to the £200,000 cash flow, but he's also got capital appreciating properties, which now in the next 5 years are going to generate him an additional 200 grand, as an example. So does that sound like the kind of outcome that you're looking for? Yeah, sure. Now you're in flow of conversation, yes or no, guys? Cool. Perfect. So you had a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you manage the dynamics if you're speaking with two people, which might potentially happen with corporates?
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So a couple of things to look out for. First of all, what's the reason that you asked that question specifically?
I guess in case if they're on different pages, in case if one of them is maybe at a 4, whereas the other is at a 7, and just trying to navigate.
Yeah, it's pulling the other person in, meaning you have to identify body language, tonality, wordplay, things that they're saying that are making you sense that they're not quite bought in, and then get the other person that is higher up on the frequency level, on the engagement level, and get them to sell it to them. So if I'm in a conversation with Daryl and Yvonne, and I notice that Yvonne's just there looking a bit stiff, writing stuff down, and Daryl's kind of like, oh yeah, it sounds good, and he's engaging more, then I might go, Yvonne, so share with us, what are your thoughts around increasing your employee turnover so that you are far more efficient as a business. Notice that I'm not framing it about me at this point because she seems concerned about something. So I want to direct a question to her that allows her to put her eyes up and gets her involved in the conversation. And an additional way to do that is to get Daryl to sell it. So I'm saying to Daryl, why do you think this is so important though for your business specifically in terms of increasing employee engagement? And then he's going to be directing the conversation at you, but he's also going to be telling Yvonne. And if Yvonne's in finance, for example, and she's looking after the money. So Daryl, just share with me, what's the cost of you losing employees every single year? He's going to tell Yvonne. And Yvonne, do you have some specific numbers on that, on what it costs you every time you lose an employee? Oh, it's around about £30,000 per person? Ah, totally understood. And if we can help you save more, like, if we can help you reduce that employee turnover from, 3 people a month down to 1 person a month, it seems like that would save you about 60 grand a month or 60 grand. Now, the investment to work with us is £10,000, but the question is really, do you feel like what we've shared so far could be the solution for you? So that's how I'm pulling Yvonne in. I'm not telling her it's the solution for her. I'm saying, do you feel like it could be the solution for you? Notice the little wordplay there. Do you feel like it could be? So it's not a direct yes or no yet. Not do you feel like it is, or do you feel like it could be? Because if she comes up with objections, what that allows us to do is then to challenge those objections. Make sense? Any other questions? Good? Clean.